Okay, next we're going to talk about India. And I think we're going to find that in India, just like with Africa, there's kind of a slow progression. And if we can recall back to our studies in the section about imperialism, we're going to find that India takes a step forward. Um, so there's less new radical or massive developments, more just kind of gradual progression down the road that we already kind of saw during that period of new imperialism. One thing, though, that is new is that in the time between the wars, a man, after World War One, a man named Mahatma Gandhi starts to really make his mark. Here's some pictures of Gandhi. Um, this is Gandhi before the war, Gandhi after the war. Before the war, Gandhi was a lawyer in South Africa, educated in London, working in South Africa, and shocked at the racism that he experienced, that he saw towards what we call Black Africans in South Africa, and the very kind of strong class structure that existed based on race in South Africa. After the war, he comes back and he starts to push for nonviolent protest. Now, his idea of nonviolent protesting the government without taking up arms or is going to be the model for our great civil rights leader, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And still kind of continues to be the model today. I mean, arguably, the protest movements that we've been seeing in our country over the last year are following some of the real basics of Mahatma Gandhi's nonviolent protest method, although they don't always work out perfectly nonviolent. There's not an attempted revolution or revolt or violent movement that was going on. Due in part to Gandhi, Gandhi was a member of the Indian National Conference, which was founded in 1885. And they pushed really hard. In 1935, Britain allows India more rights in their government, rights that actually pass some laws instead of just be kind of an advisory board. On the other end of that protest movement or movement towards Indian independence is a guy named, I can't say this name, Jawaharlal Nehru. And he's going to be more modern, more secular, more pro-Western. He's not going to reject the West. When we say the West, we're talking about Europe, the United States, specifically England, of course, who ruled India, as much as he's going to try and take some of their good ideas and say, hey, look at all the great things that were brought in. Let's not. So Gandhi is going to be the more religious Hindu, traditional garb, very anti-West arm of this movement, and the other arm will be this more modern, more secular, less religious, and more pro-Western. Like, hey, they're great. They've done some great things. Let's just get our independence now. Led by Nehru. I apologize for mispronunciations. But what we're really starting to see here is a real big underlying problem, is that historically India had been a land of orange area controlled by Hindus, the religion of Hindu, and the green area being controlled by people who are of the religion of Islam. You can see that this area here, which is modern day Pakistan, was controlled by Islamic people. Over here, modern day Bangladesh as well. And most of the rest of the country was Hindu. Historically, they hadn't worked together, but they hadn't been too far apart. And we're going to see that this divide grows stronger, and that in the upper area here, the upper northwest, a new independence movement starts that says, we should be our own country. We should not be part of that Hindu country. A little foreshadowing, folks. This is going to be something, this is going to be an obstacle and a problem for India and for Gandhi, more specifically.